Item on tonight's agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. That's going to lead us tonight.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ben's back.
Next up
Long
is
time no see.
the non-public public meeting minutes of October 26th. Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the non-public and public meeting minutes of October 26th.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Scott. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Abstain.
That's 301. Next item is the consent agenda and manifest.
It's right there, Les, if you can read it.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for 11/2/23, accounts payable payment manifest dated 10/26/23, tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 1996 in the amount of $992.92. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 1997 in the amount of $992.92. Tax deferral lien, oh wait, I read that one. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 from 1998 in the amount of $992.92. And tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 1999 in the amount of $802.23. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2000 in the amount of $1,128.15. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2001 in the amount of $1,240.05. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2002 in the amount of $1,379.01. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2003 in the amount of $1,468.49.
More. Sorry.
And tax deferral lien release from map lot 112-101 for 2004 in the amount of $1,580.02. Tax deferral lien release from map lot 112-101 for 2005 in the amount of $1,605. Tax deferral for lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2006 in the amount of $1,711.64. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2007 in the amount of $1,676.20. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2008 in the amount of $1,295.98.55. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2009 in the amount of $1,168.08. And let's see, tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2010 in the amount of $1,275.38. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2011 in the amount of $1,169.05. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2012 in the amount of $1,098.34. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2013 in the amount of $1,170.27. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2014 in the amount of $1,166.74. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2015 in the amount of $1,166.74. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2016 in the amount of $1,281.74. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2017 in the amount of $1,375.61. Tax deferral lien release for map lot 112-101 for 2018 in the amount of $1,495.40. Tax deferral lien release from map lot 112-101 for 2019 in the amount of $1,435.82. Tax deferral lien release from map lot 112-101 for 2020 in the amount of $1,670.61. Tax deferral lien release from map lot 112-101 for 2021 in the amount of $1,748.13. Goodness. Thank you for mapping that out, and next time I will defer to Scott.
I was 110% looking for that in here and was gonna do it, so you didn't have it. Thank
There was only 6 last week. So.
Is there a second?
you. Second.
Second by Rob.
No, can we read it again?
So this discussion, this is a property that was recently sold.
No,
No,
no, New Hampshire Housing
Oh.
provided payment for all of the taxes that have been deferred. So this property is resolved. You had a couple a few weeks ago. They made a payment then, and now they've sent us another larger payment.
they hold the mortgage, New Hampshire Housing?
No, they were doing, I think they did, I don't know if it's COVID assistance still,
Yeah.
but it is a program that they could apply for. So they paid off all of the debt that was on that
So
property.
all right.
Yeah, all the- So we don't count it as taxes, once it hits a deferral, the town's been paid in a lien, and it goes to Grafton, so we have to release all of them. And then I have to figure out where we book them to,
Yeah.
but we do have a check for.
Okay, great. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And, yeah, that's 4-0. Thank you. Community power final discussion and vote. For the cameras and for the record, we did have a work session. We did have a work session regarding the community power proposal and whether or not to put that on the ballot, on the warrant for the 2024 town meeting. And highlights of the program would be that a potential for decreased energy costs on the supply side of your bill.
For Eversource customers.
For Eversource customers, thank you. Would not apply to co-op customers
At the time.
Yeah.
at the time, right, at the current time. A vote tonight would, an affirmative vote tonight would, the town of Bristol would enter into an agreement with the community power, and it would also put it on the warrant for the 2024 town meeting to be approved by the governing body. If they did so, then it would, if they did so, then anybody on Eversource supply would be automatically enrolled and can opt out. There would be a period of time it wouldn't happen immediately, but it would be a period of time to get the program up and running. And people with third-party suppliers could opt in at any time, at no cost to opt in or opt out. Okay.
All right. I'll make a motion to become a New Hampshire Community Power Coalition member to authorize the town of Bristol administrator or governing body chair to enter into a joint powers agreement of Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire under the provisions of New Hampshire RSA 53-A for the purpose of supporting member municipalities and counties in developing and implementing electric aggregation plans pursuant to RSA 53-E, as well as related statutory authorities.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Les. Any further discussion?
Couple quick things. Is there anything we need to check with on legal on this?
I think they would have to look at the I would assume we'd run the agreement by them
Yeah, okay.
before we signed it. And then, I don't know if they would look at the plan, they might look at the plan too, I would think, when the time comes. So-
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in support of this. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring this to the voters to let them make the decision for themselves and not necessarily a vote in support of it, but at least to get it on the warrant and let the public decide.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that is 4-0. Great.
All right,
Step one.
step one.
We need to do step 2.
I'm going to go, but I wanted to leave this with you. This is a brochure that we've thought about putting together.
Okay,
Please take a look at it, pass it around. I only have one, I'm afraid.
that's fine.
But just look it over, and we're doing communication on this.
Yeah.
There is an article in Newfound Landing right now on this topic that I wrote, and look at that. I'll do another one. I've done one in Bristol Buzz.
Great.
We'll continue to communicate and educate.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah,
with
thank
that
you.
full town.
Well, okay.
Appreciate
It's a
it.
lonely committee you're on.
That is a fact, okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So before you leave, Paul, sorry, this says to appoint a primary representative, which I would assume that
Yeah,
you would be appointing Paul, but it also says an alternate.
okay.
Is there, I don't know, we haven't talked to anyone else on the energy committee, but I don't know if you have an alternate in mind.
I don't, maybe Paul could do some work on that and get back to us.
So we could just avoid we could just do the primary tonight, and then
Yep.
we could do the
Do
alternate
it
the next
at any
meeting.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think the way it works is that the vote enables you to sign on their behalf.
It's-
Right, but this is, we have to appoint representation to the CPCNH board.
Yeah.
And it says the primary representative.
Yeah.
To appoint blank to serve as primary representative and director of CPCNH, and blank to serve as an alternate representative.
All right, I'll check. It'll either be Buzz or Jeff, I think.
Yeah.
I'll check.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the call in now, just to finalize that?
The what?
Appoint the representative.
Do you want to do the primary? or-
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion to appoint representation to the CPCNH board, to appoint Paul Bemis to serve as the primary representative and director of the CPCNH
For the town of Bristol.
with the town of Bristol
Second,
and its board of directors.
second that too.
Okay, seconded by Rob. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstentions, that is 4-0. Great. Next item is the fire EMS discussion, both contracts and master box system.
Oh, good, I didn't send that to you.
What's that?
Do you want a copy to
Sounds
read?
fine, Mike.
Oh, we're gonna have, yeah,
Sean, real quick, if I make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session, because determined that divulgence of this information would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
is there a second?
Do you
I'll
want
second.
this for now?
Seconded by Scott, that's not up for discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, thank you.
Sorry, I meant to do that before.
No, that's good, thanks for reminding me. All right, Ben, what do we got?
EMS contract approval for 2024, which I guess is the first thing.
Yep.
So, no formula changes this year. Just a quick work back, we had started to implement like a population factor that would kind of hopefully stabilize some of the contract town's costs, as well as provide a little layer of protection should there be a huge decrease in volume in a contract town in
Right.
a certain year, which I don't really predict happening ever, but it does help, and it generates a little bit more revenue in kind of a logical method. When we started that, it was two contracts ago. think we started at like 5% and then 95% on call volume. And the plan was to maybe just go to 10 and 90. Last year it made sense to go to 20. The ultimate goal was 20 to 25%. 20%, I put it on there, is kind of the sweet spot. And I think that because of the way it works, if you go too much higher than that, then, you know, some of the contract towns / Bristol end up paying a little bit more of another contract town that's fairly busy for their population, because of stuff that they have going on in their town. And so that's kind of, to me, the right spot to leave it at for the time being, and make sure that kind of does what we hoped, which it so far has, which is kind of, you know, continue to mean that those revenue numbers go up as our budget numbers go up, but that it also kind of stabilizes. And, you know, I'm not going to Hill one year with a $50,000 bill and then a $22,000 bill and then a $60,000 bill. So I didn't make any other changes. It puts the value that's represented in there, just as a reminder, is really that revenue that we generate from EMS billing from doing the primary EMS transporting in those towns, as well as the subsidy. So because we made a big change last year, it was a pretty big percentage increase. And a lot of the changes we've done with billing, we've seen that effect over the last 2 years, and we'll just see kind of more normal increases in those numbers. So it's up just under 4%. And then the entirety of the EMS program, when you look at what Bristol based calls or other mutual aid, New Hampton or Bridgewater on occasion, that's up about the same, 3.4%. So, you know, the entirety of running the EMS program in town brings in just over $634,000 in revenue.
I have the rest. I don't know if you want me to share anything else.
No, I think that's it. So as I've done in years past, there's one contract. They all look the same outside of the town names and exactly what those towns are paying. That number itself is up about $10,000 over the last year. But again, the entirety works out to 26,000 or so, 25,000 and change. Yeah, that's the highlight. Happy to explain it any further. And,
All of the data that's behind it, all of this stuff, the page is huge, sorry, is in your packets though, if you wanted to look at it a little bit more under number 4, but I think I also emailed it out to everybody as well, so how the calculations were done. So, let me get back up.
Chief, while you're here, why do we pay the city of Franklin for fire department emergency callback for $35?
Oh, from the manifest? So, the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid has a training division, puts on training. They're not eligible to put in for AFG grants. So the city of Franklin put in for a system-wide training grant.
Gotcha.
Which paid for a bunch of Fire 1 classes, Fire 2 classes, and technical rescue classes. The form, we were using the standard form that they sent because all the overtime and backfill was reimbursable, but July 1st, the retirement number decreased. So we had technically overcharged by $35, and so they needed to recoup that.
Thank you.
So are we signing off on this tonight?
The contract?
Yeah.
That's the idea, yeah.
You're gonna love me. Is there any reason we can't put more burden on the other towns?
The board can decide to do what they want, I guess.
What do you mean by more burden?
I'm just looking of increasing revenue coming into the town when we're the one providing all the services. I mean, it's a pretty damn good deal to begin with, and I mean, I'm not trying to hold them hostage, but it's not like there's other options out there. You know, we've got, just looking out for the taxpayers, we've got a new building. We need a 30 ambulance, I think, you know, sooner than later. You could certainly benefit by more revenue coming into the capital reserve account to offset the cost of, you know, whatever vehicles, equipment, that sort of thing. Increase in manpower down the road. I'm not looking at it as a punitive thing, as I am trying to look at it to give you more tools to work with.
I can appreciate that. But I know that, sorry, Ben, I know that, as been talked about, I mean, historically, it was all based on calls.
Yeah.
And we weren't getting paid if they didn't transport. Ben's made great steps with the contracts over the last couple of years to add language regarding that, and specifically especially on the population basis, I think was a big plus. But I think that has gone up over the last few years. I understand your point. I'd like to get as much out of it as possible.
Well, and not only that, but we're also looking at a fairly significant wage increase in the coming year, and I'd like that, at least to see the difference of that tacked onto this, to compensate for that.
Yeah, so at least to that point, we still continue to do, and I will continue to support it as long as I'm here and able to give my opinion, that we've moved what we look at for the contracts up as close as physically possible, but we still technically generate the contracts in arrears. And to me, that says, you know, it's always been that we collect what we spend to do that service, right? We just happen to collect it 6 or 8 months later than we spend that last dollar. So you're gonna capture it, you're just gonna capture it a year later, you know? That money's gonna come in, because just if you keep everything the same, right, and you implement the wage stuff that we're looking at for this budget season, the benefit is it'll only be a short period of time. So year one, there'll be, you know, a 5 or 10% increase just based on that to what they're paying, and then year two, it'll be probably like 20%, or at least pushing that. So you're gonna grab that dollar amount. The hesitancy that I have with saying, you know, let's just charge as much as we can. There's still the idea to do it in some sort of good faith and fairness, and being able to say, well, this is a recoupable cost based on, you know, the service that we're providing. I think we bill pretty appropriately for the service that we provide at the end of the day. My concern is that I'm still looking at the EMS strategic plan that we did a couple of years ago, and pretty much focusing on that as I talk to the fire chiefs and the other, you know, boards to say, you know, really next year needs to be step one to move to 3 per shift, right? And I've said it all along, and I'm going to continue to maintain that, which is that is probably going to take 3.5 employees, but 3 of those employees, it's going to be 100% on the contract towns. And I bring that up, obviously that's maybe more service, and of course they would pay more, but they're going to pay a substantial, right? An employee is a roughly $105,000 investment right now, with the potential new wages and where health insurance is at and all that stuff. So when you look at that, I don't know that, I know for a fact that not every town doesn't have another option at that point, right? So if we say, hey, town X should pay half again as much as they're paying, and then you tack on over the course of however long that takes to get to that staffing level, another $100,000 on top of that, their neighboring community will beat that price, absolutely. And it's not, you don't lose a lot of calls, so you can't go, well, now we don't need 3, you lose 60 calls a year. But you then lose $200,000 worth of revenue, you know, at that expense. I tend to agree with you with some of the other ones, but
Maybe something we
Yeah.
could work on over the next year.
well, that's the plan for the next year. I've already talked to those chiefs. They know we've gone through the strategic plan. There's probably a process, but I've also had the discussion with them to say, I think, and certainly the board will be the final say, and ultimately the taxpayers when it comes to adding staff, that process, even if it's only for a short period of time, is potentially a multi-year contract, which we've never done. My opinion, it still looks roughly the same. It's just a contract that says we're bound to each other, say for 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is. But so that there's some understanding from the other towns that if they're going to commit this extra money, that the town of Bristol is going to commit that level of service. Just the same as, you know, if the town of Bristol is going to approve this level of service, increase staff or whatever, that those towns are going to then pay that.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's really the goal for next year is to start that. The strategic plan called for really like 2026 you'd be at 3 per shift. I think there's a logical way to start basically adding 1 a year over the course of the next 3 years, and you get there. And you get there where you can say to these towns, instead of bam, here's another $100 and some $1,000, it's here's 27,000 and then another 20, you know, and it gets you there logically and hopefully without too much heartburn. Or maybe I sit down with those towns and they're happy to pay it, and then we just go right to it. Maybe one of them's that way, but yeah, I mean, typically I would bring these forward a little bit sooner, not really a lot sooner, only maybe like a meeting or so. But certainly the other towns are in the same boat where they're trying to work through the budget process and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I bring it up, but at this point, you know, shame on me for not trying to be more involved in this or having a better understanding of it before we're sitting here today. So, I mean, you know, move forward with it for now, and, you know, maybe next year, and we'll look at things a little bit closer.
Right. All right.
Making sure I'm just looking out for our taxpayers.
I get it. Yeah, I get it 100%. So it's always been that fine line between having that revenue and potentially losing that revenue.
Right,
Losing that
exactly.
revenue.
And
Yeah.
we'll make it work.
All right.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2024 EMS contracts as proposed.
Second?
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that's 4-0. Send the bills out tomorrow?
No, she's on vacation.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're going out tomorrow.
Oh, they're all ready to go.
Oh, master box.
I sent you an email a week or two ago.
You have him sign his time sheet.
In regards to 3.
What's that?
In regards to
Yes.
3, yeah, that's a topic that's coming down the pipe, but over the next couple of months.
Can you just sign that for me? It got turned in, but I.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
So,
God.
I got your missing signature for you.
1 and 2.
I totally figured I'd do it because I'd catch him here.
Okay. Master box system.
Yeah, so the master box system needs to go away.
These are the red boxes, the
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
it's,
It'd be nice, but
well, it'd be nice and, you know, I just, to say, to make sure that everybody kind of knows, like, obviously, I think one of the more important is not the right word, because there's schools on it and stuff, but as far as somebody that has a true effect by having a really rapid way of getting the fire department to their facility. I've talked to Freudenberg on a couple of occasions. They understand that if they were willing to pony up the money, they could keep the system, and they didn't do that. So, it's the way we get the fire alarms for certain buildings in town, right? And it is faster. It is absolutely faster. We go to enough fire drills or, fire alarm activations that you might be in town and you're hearing it, and then it's X number of minutes later, you're actually getting toned out to it. Versus the box alarm system transmits that rather quickly to the fire station. The issue with that is it's the way faster way if somebody's in the fire station. So though they don't go unnoticed, it's all monitored, and we get that, and somebody goes in and reads the tape. If nobody's there to read the tape, it's just as long as if this fire alarm goes off and a couple minutes later it gets through its process, and then we get the dispatch for it. So it's a little bit of a loss. It's certainly from a cost standpoint, one of the big reasons to bring it up to you guys is there are private businesses or occupancies that are on the system that for 15 to probably 100 years haven't paid anything to monitor or maintain a system, and they're going to get these letters, and in 6 or 8 months they're going to have to probably have a $500 or $1,000 bill to connect into their own private monitoring, and then $300 to $400, $500 a year for monitoring. So likewise, the town's also going to see that because we have a couple of properties that are monitored by the master box system. It's not a huge expense. Christina and I have looked at what's in the fund or what's budgeted routinely under general government. It will probably absorb most of that. We might have to find some money to get some of the transitions done, but at least the monitoring will probably get covered. And then as far as our building goes, that connection was kind of already figured into the new public safety building, so we won't see that cost. And then it'll be roughly the same that we spend every year to monitor the system. So there won't be, so really 3 buildings, the plant at water and sewer, the highway garage, and the library. And the library's already done some of the work, so there's just a new monitoring fee that they don't typically see. But that's the plan, May 31st of next year. That to me was the good balance. Other municipalities 15 minutes south of here have given 90 days notice when they're shutting down their system. I really wanted to be able to, one, because the schools need to be able to plan for it, but really anybody, be able to give some sort of an extended period of time. And Rob does all the fire alarm maintenance, which is another thing. Like if Rob's in Florida and the line goes down,
All the time.
we got fire watches everywhere because not all the time, but it's rather inconvenient. But when I got promoted to fire chief, there was a couple of people that were looking to get on the system, and it was, are we really going to continue the system? Can we get rid of a bunch of street boxes? And at that time, 7 years ago, there was no cell phone service in town. Now, pretty much anywhere you go, you have an option to do it over a cell transmitter, which is relatively inexpensive compared to carrying a landline, as well as that extra cost. And then street box wise, you don't get a lot of emergencies reported via street boxes, but I mean, now if you're down at Kelly Park and a car drives onto the soccer field, you can make a cell phone call and get to emergency services versus the need to run over to Cedar Street and pull the hook over there. So it's certainly, the infrastructure's there, the time's right, and 40,000 is probably on the cheap side. The quote, it was actually significantly higher, but there was some new equipment that you didn't need. But then of course a project like that, you get into it and find that this is broken or that's broken or it's more work. So yeah, 40 or 50 grand to maybe save $1,000 a year, and then there's still maintenance every year that just kind of goes away, and we'll still have a small budget probably for another year or two as we kind of decommission the system, but
we raffle off the old
yeah, or something.
Yeah. So you already got a plan for it.
So that is one thing Rob and I talked about. I think for the most part, you know, we could probably track back outside of the town buildings. I don't know that any box that's on the side of the building is actually a town of Bristol property. I know the most recent ones, Jeff Goodrum's bought a couple of them, and the letter's just gonna say, hey, the box is yours to do with
Yeah.
whatever you want to, but it is your responsibility to take it off because you can't have it sitting there and then it seems like, you know, somebody's pulling the hook thinking a fire truck's coming and it's not, so.
I'm gonna guess they will get back what they paid for those.
Oh, yeah.
They're almost $10,000 now, just for that box.
Wow, that's crazy.
They're
Historically, would the horn blow
Yeah.
for the location?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Still
Yeah,
works.
that's what we had in my town growing up, yeah.
Lincoln still does that.
Yeah,
It's actually a siren, we have sirens.
Yeah. yeah.
Because it doesn't blow out the box or anything.
So,
You go to the corner, yeah, it's at the, yeah.
so with, you know, getting rid of the system, are we still gonna have a need for the bucket truck as much? Probably not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highway, I think, has a legitimate need for it. It might be one more geared towards tree work,
Right.
but at least, you know, then, you know, they can help out with the changing the things on the poles downtown still, the Christmas tree. That's
Instead of
gonna be
the
a
ladder.
without that, yeah. I mean, this breaks my heart, right? That's kind of my baby, but it is what it is. I mean, you know, 10 years from now, I don't want to be hanging off the side of a pole in the middle of a rainstorm. It's, you know, there's been a little kind of training other people, but nobody's super interested in it, and it's,
Analog.
and way too much of it is right here and
Yeah.
not, there's no book that he can go, oh, out on the floor, open up the book and see what to do. It's
Yeah.
not. And that was, you know, thanks to Skip Moyer for that, for passing it down to me, who got it from Johnny Day, who got it from whoever, you know.
So do we need a motion on that to?
No, I don't think,
I
no,
don't think
it's
so,
just,
no,
it's just letting us know.
Making sure you know, and those letters are gonna go out, hopefully tomorrow when I send out EMS contracts again, just so that people can get it, the school will get it quick enough.
Yeah,
Most of their stuff that they're doing, it'll be a fairly easy transition with the fire alarm work that they got scheduled, so, I'm sure we'll hear something about it, but it really isn't gonna be that, big of a deal, so, yeah, May 31st, so that everybody's clear on that. That'll put us to where, you know, maybe we're out of the building at that point, maybe we're not quite out of the building at that point, but,
close enough.
close enough, so,
Yeah.
to make sure that there's no gap there where we're trying to monitor it from a quarter mile up the road and whatnot, which is doable, but then it gets sold or comes to vet clinic, I don't know, whatever you guys are planning on doing.
All right, very good.
Bucklands, fragrance.
We'll confirm too ahead, what we have to do to get our own buildings addressed.
Yeah.
And I think that probably can come out of, the building maintenance fund, depending on how much is there, so.
Okay.
Did you, just out of curiosity, did you ever look into anything with radio boxes?
Only kind of. To me, I don't really want to push it, and then, you know, the places that have them are gonna spend, well, they're gonna spend more money to get into them. We could still kind of monitor it. I didn't look into it in detail.
Yeah, does
Enough.
Lux even have the capability to monitor them?
I think most of them, they got away from monitoring the radio boxes, and you still have to figure out a way to do it in-house, so whether you could, and like Franklin maybe would have been an option at that point, but I think that's part of their conversation was, well, maybe we'll do radio boxes, and I think dispatch wanted to get rid of just being responsible for that period, because that's how Franklin could do it for years, is they also have a tape at the PD dispatch, because that's 24/7, and then that gets right out. They call it in the lakes, but I have to run miles of cable somewhere because it's
Right.
all, like you said, it's analog. It's the lines aren't touching each other. It ain't doing anything.
All right. All right. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Free to go.
You want me to hang out for any building stuff?
Well, other than the TA reports next, you can, in case there's any questions.
All right,
You ready?
yep, we're ready for that.
Oh, perfect, we're gonna start with, I'm not gonna pull anything else up on the screen, but, I'll start with the employee and department updates on the fire department. On the existing building, I will let you read that comment under the TA report, but I've scheduled a work session for November 16th. And it will be actually not a work session, it'll be a non-public session. Ben has provided the geotechnical report and the space needs report. And I'll have those for that meeting, so that you know, and we're working on the rest of the list, so. Public safety building, Ben reached out to Mike Callahan at Gruen regarding the use of OSB sheathing at the public safety building, confirmed that Farmington used the same on their project. He reports that this is how the pricing for Bristol was figured. Mike did report that generally he's not a proponent of using OSB, but in this came up while you were away, by the way. It was a question that came on the select board. But is in the case of this building for two reasons. The OSB will be covered quickly with a weather-tight product. One of the advantages of zipboard is that it is weather-tight, allowing the building to sit in the elements for extended periods, such as not roofing until the spring. This is an unnecessary expense considering roofing is scheduled for next month. Most of the draw of zipboard is that you can roof inside directly over it without the addition of vapor barriers. However, this is not the case, typo, with the roofing warranty. Mike sent Ben the details on this, and they still need to underlay the roof shingles. Simply roofing over zipboard would void the warranty. Again, what is many times seen as cost savings material would not apply to our building. Also, Ben has reported that the second floor subfloor will also be OSB with gypcrete underlayment. Same as Farmington. And then roofing, at least the underlayment should begin next week. Anything else to report?
Just OSB or Advantech?
OSB.
The only other thing, so the time-lapse video thing, they can do that, they're working on it. If you guys tell me differently, that's fine, but I think the thought process that we came up with was, basically toward the end of the month, it's supposed to be at least weather tight,
That would be
roof
great.
on, and the windows, and then do a cut there and,
Yep.
and produce something that they can send that we can.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And you mentioned doing a visit again, site visit. Are we gonna do that in 2 weeks or?
I don't know. I think we would wait until it was weather tight, but until Ben is back. Ben is going on vacation.
Yeah, I would, we're gonna try to do the same stuff with the fire department and talking to them. I think probably potentially, as long as everything stays on target, then like the first December meeting, I think would work to line something like that up. And I can touch base when I get back and say, are we still on schedule, and then we can do the same thing.
Great.
Just quick question on that. So was somebody reach out concerning because of the OSB?
Yeah,
Yes. I'll talk to you after.
they've been working on the overhangs and the roof lines. It's really makes a
Good.
big difference, yeah.
And Cade's going tomorrow to take some inside pictures.
Great.
So he's made an appointment with Zach, and Zach's gonna let him
And
know.
also Morrison's been working on the retaining wall in the back, and that's gonna be great.
So there was never actually an issue with them not using fall protection or anything? They're just,
No, there wasn't.
Nothing was found.
Okay. Sorry, that just
Get you caught up.
came to me from somebody in the public, so I figured I ought to at least bring it up.
All right. Electric bills.
Sorry. Oh, no.
Highway department.
Highway department. Not anything else on the public safety building, Ben? Then you're good to go. You're welcome to stay longer if you want, but.
Are you can I get those tomorrow?
Yes.
Contracts?
Yeah. I just have to scan them for the file.
Yeah, you need to sign them too.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Highway department, transfer station, the speed bumps at the high school are supposed to be removed this week. When Mark checked last, they were still in, but they did tell them they would be removing them.
Okay.
Central Square trees, the ash borer trees should be taken down before Thanksgiving. I asked that they be taken care of before they do the Christmas tree lighting event, so that they're not in there when the tree gets in there. So Mark's reaching out to him. The company contacted for an assessment of the tree that was hit by the vehicle. Asked us to flag them, we did. Now they're not responding. So Mark's gonna try to reach out to them again, but if you have an alternative name, we haven't been able to get an assessment done, so.
Okay.
Phone system and Green Street, I'm still working on. I have one new, and that one that's not on your list. So Veterans Day is next Saturday, September. Yeah, November 11th. And the question was, do we keep the transfer station open all day? Mark is thinking yes, but he wanted to make sure that, because it is Veterans Day, we recognize Veterans Day on Friday.
Yeah.
But the transfer station would be open on that day otherwise, so I don't know if you have any.
I don't have any heartburn.
I was just gonna ask Scott.
Either better.
Yeah.
And in the past, I know that there was a transfer station attendant
I
who
was just
had
gonna ask
an
if we
issue.
have any veterans that.
There is one, and we can recommend if they, we can certainly see if they can take the day if they want to, but,
I think that's fair, and I would go with Mark's recommendation.
okay.
Or we
Go.
get them a lunch or coffee or something.
That's an idea. Well, people are always bringing in lunch. If you know what I'm talking about.
And breakfast, and.
All right. The street lighting we're still working on, but the former downtown lights that you approved to be recycled, Mark did recycle them, dismantled and recycled, and we're getting 203 back for those.
Oh, great.
Police department, the 2004 Escape, which was formerly the town and the PD vehicle. The police chief reports that it is now been disposed of.
Thank
So,
goodness.
yes, thankfully. Nothing new to report on the police officer position. And we've stalled a little bit on the speed limit report, but we're gonna get that back up and finish it, so.
I have a thing on the selectmen items about that as well.
Okay. Water sewer department, nothing new to report yet on Baton Road. Open positions were posted on Facebook, Indeed, the town website. If you, the advertisement that I mentioned to you, I think at last week's meeting, Jeff tried to change it up and make it asking questions more and try to get people more interested. That is in your folders under TA1. But we posted that, and I've gotten 3 new ones from Indeed today.
Oh, wow.
What, I don't know if they're all
Yeah.
suitable or not yet, but I've sent Jeff 6 yesterday from Indeed.
Wow.
Then they're all applying for the assistant, so, which, the assistant, operator in training.
Yeah.
And so we've only gotten maybe 1 person for the bigger job.
Yeah.
So, but we'll stay tuned. Updated hire date. I thought that I wanted to share this with the board. So Jeff was able to provide documentation that showed his hire date was actually August 30th, 1984, instead of November 18th, 1985, which is what the town has. It's in your folders.
You said
because I-
1895.
Look at that on here.
I mean, I'm sorry, I said the wrong date. didn't
You
I?
started to, but you couldn't get.
First report of injury.
So did you see, this is his first report of injury that says he was hired in August. I'm like, I can't believe you still have that. So,
$4.15 an hour.
so we're gonna do a PDF to change it. I don't think you need to sign it, but I thought it was interesting to
Okay.
share with the board. We had him on our report since 38 years.
It's actually 39, or coming up on. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm recognizing him this month in the recognitions for 39 years
Yeah.
because I don't want to go back to August,
That's
so.
yeah,
But I thought that was interesting. The assessing and land use department, the South Main Street, I already told you what I'm gonna pursue. So, tax rate setting, I reviewed the tax portal. There are new documents that were submitted by the school on October 26th, so it looks like they must have had to change something in the Department of Education's review. We don't have a date or any kind of confirmation when we're
it's
setting it.
ridiculous.
So, I'm gonna try to reach out again now that I've seen the portal updated to Michelle Clark, who is our DRA representative, and see if it's ready to go forward yet, so. Executive department, nothing new to report on Eversource. They're not asking for their money, but they haven't been able to give us any updated information either, so. Recognition was posted yesterday. Jeff Jardiner, Water Sewer Department, 39 years. Shane Dugan, Minot Sleeper Library, 6 years. Joel Fermanic, Water and Sewer Department, 18 years. And Richard Poitras, Seasonal Highway Department, 9 years. We've already touched base on the next one, so I'll skip it. Warrant article prep. I'm looking for feedback on warrant articles so I can get those ready for your next meeting to start doing preliminary looks at them. I put the property, the regular reserve funds, and then how does the board want to handle fireworks? And I will schedule a warrant article to start to review on November 16th. But,
We need a number on fireworks.
yeah. So I haven't been able to get back to it since we talked, but I did start to do some review on fireworks. And back when I did the first review on fireworks, it was like 20 grand.
That's what I figured.
But they would provide, so they would provide their they don't do it off a barge, they do it, most of them don't do it off a barge that I've talked to. I haven't been able to talk to a lot yet, but most of them didn't do it off a barge, they do it off of land, and they call it JPI pyrotechnics instead. There was someone out of Maine that was.
So the whoever bought Atlas owns pontoons and will do it off the barge.
So that's JPI
That's JPI.
pyrotechnics.
And I spoke to them
Yeah.
very informally. I just happened to see them at another event. And very professional operation. But it's been
Top dollar also.
cost money.
Right, I think he's the one who told me 18,000 at the time, and that was when I first started looking into it at the beginning of the year, but they couldn't give us July for 4th, or I think the closest they could give us, that when we were talking about it before, because we were worried about being able to finish this year with Hell's Gate, they said the closest date they could have given us this year would have been like July 10th, something like that.
That's the problem, is you'd have to lock in a date right now.
Yeah.
Class A,
So, no, Class B. Class C is easier. Class B, it has to be electronically, you have to be electronic. You
Right.
can't go fire them off like
Right.
ours
Yeah,
did. So,
but we're talking about an upgrade from the class from last year.
this
Right.
year,
Last
yeah,
year
we
was
could
class
only do C because he was hand firing.
Correct.
Because of the law change. So,
I say put it on the warrant,
Yeah.
like 22.
I
Well, make the
can put
next
it-
round
I
number,
mean-
put 30.
we can develop an RFP. I got some sample ones and put it out. But I think I have to reach out to individual people
Yeah.
to know what the number's gonna be.
Because off land, we don't have a spot
No, we
off
don't.
land.
You cannot do it. Last time we did it off of land was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We were chasing embers up by
Oh, yeah, that
Scott
was,
O'Brien's place up there.
Oh, yeah.
well, that's when we did
And they-
that was
when they got
$30,000 worth
property.
of fireworks back then.
Yeah,
When
Yeah.
they did the Friends of the Fourth.
yeah,
That was an incredible show. That was like,
yeah.
Yeah,
But that's when we will auction off of the property.
Yeah, look at
That
that.
would be like, and you can't do that anymore.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
we've done it at Cummings Beach
it's a
before.
200-foot radius from buildings, it's supposed to be, so anywhere you're shooting off land, you couldn't even ask Mayhew to use their property, because they have so many of their buildings now,
Yeah.
so. Because I thought Mayhew would be great shooting them off the island, but like,
I think
no.
we've asked before, and that wasn't an option. I know Wellington was brought up,
And not to mention, it's,
yeah.
So, I think it's gonna probably be more than 20, but we have
You
to,
put 25 on and just,
Or we just not have it at all and keep the non-resident taxpayer happy because we're not spending money.
they
well,
won't have
the residents are gonna make that decision. That's what I've liked about fireworks, is that it's always been a warrant article, and they
Yeah.
decide
Yeah,
whether to
exactly.
spend the money, we don't decide.
Well, we don't have to know
Right,
a
we don't
number
have to
right
know
now.
now, but I can start doing some more research if that's what you want, and we can work on
I think
it.
we're gonna have to make a commitment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and, we would have to have, whatever commitment we make, we'd have to have some kind of addendum to get out of it
Right.
if it failed at town meeting.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
But, all right. So,
So fireworks, I mean, I know we talked about this before, is,
There is no fireworks.
technically, there's.
Christina.
Me, I got thrown back on.
And that's
I
right.
left
You got
for a
thrown
year,
off.
I got thrown back on, I got thrown off.
You got thrown off and then thrown back on.
And the fire chief and.
Jamie.
the
Jamie
police
was
chief,
on it.
And Jamie was on
The
it.
police chief, Victor was supposed to be.
Right, highway was supposed to be.
Because we they weren't, because, but our comment was we need to make sure somebody's there to help clean up.
Yeah,
So
do
they,
you want me to reach out to JPI?
yeah,
Take that off your plate.
I would love it. You can reach out to JPI and I can see if I can find any others, so, but.
So maybe it's worth putting another poll on Facebook to the community.
No.
No.
Stop with the polls.
the poll will be in March.
I can just imagine.
I almost fell out of my chair when I saw your first poll.
Oh my God, no. Here's, I just ripped it out. So warrant articles, other than that, it should be very minimal. As far as reserve funds, the same ones we always do.
Yeah, lay it out for us,
Okay.
as we normally would.
right.
You know, we may decide to make some changes to that, but lay it out as CIP recommends.
Yeah. So CIP will be, we had to postpone CIP, I'm gonna talk to them too, they should be doing their work earlier.
Yeah.
Because we should be getting their recommendations before you finalize your budget.
Yeah, I was curious about that, actually.
Yeah, so it was Don Milbrand's idea to start budget earlier,
Yeah,
but CIP didn't get shifted to start earlier, so next year they're gonna have to.
okay.
Because they're coming next week, not next week, next meeting to give you their presentation, but we've closed your budget.
Right.
Technically,
Right.
you know, so.
Okay.
Okay. I just want, artwork, we've added new artwork at the town office
I
buildings.
saw that,
That's
beautiful.
That's nice.
Really nice. I took, she posted, one of the artists posted, and I took her pictures and posted on the town page. I just posted the other artists on the town page today. But, they're in the main lobby, the assessing and land use lobby, and upstairs. There are two different artists currently, and most of the work is for sale, and any interested local artists, we're doing the Newfound area. But the current one is from Bristol, who put the big paintings are from
Can we say the
Bristol.
name?
Yeah,
Yes. Adinika Van Derven.
yeah.
And I'm so sorry if I butcher your name. So,
It's a neat.
I think.
Yeah.
Danique, yes,
Yeah.
Van Derven.
Bruce Smith.
Yes.
That's easier.
And then Sue Bean is the other person
Oh, nice.
on there, so. If anybody's interested, they should contact Deb Clark Tibby for more information on how to be added to the rotation. We have some room right now to add some more, we wanted to make sure that we announced it, so if anybody is interested. So.
Yeah.
Friend of my wife does some local photography. Her husband's the brewer at Woodman's.
Just-
Barry Woodman?
No,
Oh.
no, he works with Justin, yes,
Justin.
Justin's wife, Emily.
I'll have them contact them because the recent post I put up today is holidays are coming, looking for a gift.
Yeah.
But also, it's added some really great color to this
Yeah.
building.
Can we
so-
put something in this room? or
I just gotta say that.
Well, so we'd have to install those, I know this room is really, but we have to install those borders.
Yeah.
And we can look into that because
Yeah.
it would be nice
Yeah, this would be
to add
nice.
some color into this room as well.
Did we bring
There's not enough with us.
Yeah,
Not color.
no, when you're on candy, you missed it, Nick. No candy allowed anymore.
That's 2 weeks.
Oh my God,
Yeah, I know, well, better.
I'm like, focus.
Quick, sorry if this is off track. The window coverings,
We, you missed it too, you're out of luck.
is that, did
Yes,
you go to
we
the?
We're moving on.
They are gonna be installed on December 15th.
Excellent, I'm so happy.
You're gonna have to.
I wish I was here for that, because I had a.
You're gonna have
There
to
was-
explain. So December 15th, they're coming to do, but they're all not doing extra, they're just doing the ones we talked about. The lobby, this lobby, the other windows in the back, that, including the bigger conference room space,
Yeah.
because that has a large window. My windows, and then the 2 PD windows, so.
I forgot about, I spoke to the police chief about it, and then I forgot to bring it back up.
Okay, so, yeah.
So,
Um,
I still would have just assumed put the money on the floor and light it on fire for the record.
well, you missed it. We still have open position for anybody interested in the cemetery trustee. Even if they don't want to put their name in now and they want to run for voting, we strongly encourage interested parties. We'd love to be able to fill that position, so. They do slow down a little for the winter, but we really need to get somebody back on for the summer, so.
Maybe that'll be my next
Events.
position out of town.
Hmm?
Nothing.
For events, scarecrow decorating. The scarecrows have been great in the square. I did want to announce the winners.
Yeah.
Award for most creative. First place was Claire Crow from the Bristol Botanists. I have pictures, but I didn't post them.
I took pictures too.
Second place was Harold by CC and Henry. So Harold, our crossing guard. Third place was the Ski Crow, which is BB Woods, isn't it?
Yep,
Wasn't it a takeoff of B? Yep.
yes.
And that was by Deb Doe. A school entry, it was Fred by the Bristol Elementary School second graders. People's Choice Award was the Bristol Fire Company, which is out by their building, you see it.
That was great.
And then a Thanks for Playing Award was Bristol Babe. So, I don't know which one that was.
I'm not sure.
It's on my,
You
they're
can
on my
post pictures
phone.
on the.
I'm still creeped out by the crow, so.
The
That
crow
was
was so
awesome.
It was,
But
it was
Did you see
good.
Imagines? Imagines was incredible
Oh, I
too.
didn't see it.
I'll show you after.
Okay.
But
Are you gonna post them all on Facebook?
they posted the winners. I can post the ones I have pictures of from
Yeah.
Tuesday night. Yes.
I think posting all of them is kind of good.
Yeah.
I live streamed the witches on the
Yeah.
town.
Oh, yeah, I saw- I was
Were
watching
you
that.
one of them? You didn't do it? No, have
They
you
called
done it?
me a
No,
witch.
Didn't you do it in the past?
No,
No?
no. I usually helped with the event, but last night I was just a spectator until Tuesday night.
Patty and I and Emma were standing next to Michaela when the music cut off. She's like, "You people shouldn't be up here."
Oh, when it got unplugged. is that
Yeah.
When it got unplugged and part
Well,
of it.
they were
Somebody
really
kicked it or
unhappy
something,
that all
yeah.
the people came through we had it roped off,
Yeah.
and then
And
I
they
took the
cut
rope
through.
down because that ship sailed, and
Yeah.
that's the hard part with the witches, is there's not a good viewing area once the crowd gets around
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But somebody suggested the pavilion would be a good spot.
I think you should put him back in the tennis court. And the only reason I say that is because you can see it from the road,
Yeah,
and then people
Or-
don't encroach on them.
oh, yeah.
What
That was
about the
kind of the
parking
nice
lot?
part about it.
What about
At
the
the end, they
parking
were
lot?
dancing with
Yes,
all
they
the
were
kids.
dancing.
I think right in
Yes.
the middle of the intersection.
The tennis court parking lot.
That was good. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
cool.
that too.
Because
So
there's no
we can't
parking
shut
there.
the state road
No, we were
down.
down.
No, the tennis court parking lot.
Oh, you could do it there.
Because there's still plenty of viewing and
Yeah.
people could eat, yeah. There's less
It was,
obstruction.
it was
We
tough.
did shut it down one year.
We got in trouble. We were shut down way too long.
Well, that's the kind of trouble I don't mind getting in.
trouble with the state?
Yeah, because we were shut down way too long,
All right,
so.
And the PD did a great job down there.
Although,
they did great.
there is half the road, they did shut it down, there's no reason they couldn't be there, and
Yeah.
people couldn't watch from the other side, they would
You
just have
have
to,
people all over that road.
yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I do think we should consider looking into possibly next year is it's becoming kind of a destination. And we might want to consider some lighting in a couple spots, like rental lighting.
Oh, my other recommendation was, we closed down this road, we should take up the whole road instead of us all being condensed
Yeah,
in
down
one
here.
area at the end.
Yeah, I watched the kid
Oh,
almost.
that- And that would help bring trunk or treat back, because there were a lot of people downtown handing out candy.
Yeah, library
cards.
parking lot.
Yeah.
So if we
Kilter.
were to
Get
get
back to
our
the tree.
people on that street,
Yeah,
I think that would be a great, and there was a car in front of the Senate that, I don't know whose car it was, but it was still there when everything ended.
Should've towed it.
It's probably
I think it was
another
the
one.
Lions, but I don't
Yeah.
know.
well, and they were in the parking lot, but we could certainly put them up, and it was darker over there, but if you put them up on the street and just
Yeah.
spread it all down the
Oh, yeah, I
street.
think that would be great.
So I'm on all the town Facebook for various reasons, but
Junkie.
New Hampton, Alexandria, Danbury, maybe even Grafton, maybe that was a different, but there were folks coming from,
Yeah,
like you said.
Oh, so were they promoting it on the town?
No, they were
Their town?
promoting it, just people asking about trick or treating and people would say, we go to Bristol, or you should go to
Well, they said
Bristol.
Hill was really quiet too, because
Yeah.
somebody came to Bristol.
Yeah,
yeah,
My big area of concern was the Union Street intersection. I watched a kid almost get hit in front of the middle
It's
school.
really
How he
bad.
didn't get hit is beyond me.
well, not just the crossing, I did not see somebody when I was going home crossing the intersection from the
Yeah,
school to the B-Hop parking lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a crosswalk there, but I could hardly see them. And
It's a
I'm
good
like,
idea with the extra lighting. I think
Yeah.
that's-
Or even if, even
Or at that
maybe the
intersection.
PD sent one guy down that end of town just to.
one thing they commented, they have too many cruisers in one spot.
Yeah,
So they're
well,
gonna,
it also didn't help that they were pouring a foundation right around the corner at the start of trick or treat.
Yo,
They had traffic backed up
Yeah.
all
And
the way
ripping up
up the
TD
road.
Banks garden.
Yeah, what was that on?
I
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
It
so.
was Randy, wasn't it?
Randy Colby I get a message from Chris saying, I can't believe Randy's down here tearing up everything around, all the dirt. And they had a little excavator down there or whatever it was, but anyway. And Randy said, I met with the bank yesterday and told them I was gonna do it today and nobody said anything.
Yeah, they
And
didn't.
knowing Randy, he probably didn't even know it was Halloween.
Right.
So they told him he was gonna have to clear it, and luckily they had finished up with the equipment that they rented, so it was interesting. There was dirt all
Dirt
over
everywhere.
the sidewalks.
there was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the fog machine that the PD was supposed to be using, they set off the fire alarms here on Monday.
Oh, that's great.
Gotta test it.
Smoke all over
We've
the
done
place
that
upstairs.
in our building.
Yeah.
Great job by the PD and the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
awesome.
kudos, really,
So.
yeah.
I have talked to so many people, and a lot of people that don't have young kids that were down there and just said how outstanding it was and what a great community it is.
We went down just to walk around.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's all I
you
went
know,
down.
yeah, we went down to walk around and see all the kids, and it was just, it's one of those nights that well, no, not the tree lighting, but although that is nice too, but the Santa's Workshop,
Yeah.
Halloween is just one of those nights when you just, as a community, you see how everyone comes together, and it's really,
Yeah.
it really makes me proud, actually.
It does.
The town does a great job, yeah.
And even the hazel light, that was
Yeah.
really nice. The only thing I will comment from I felt bad because they were way over there and everything else was way over
So
here.
maybe next year we
So
can
maybe
put
we
them
move
up.
them
Yeah.
up too.
You could put the
Yeah.
bleachers in a parking space
Yeah.
and
Well,
set it up, but
Where was it when, oh, it was in the library parking lot, I think, one year, or the Mason.
The first
Oh,
year.
did the Masons
The
have a
first
haunted house?
They did,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
never made it down.
So maybe we
I've
move the
never
pumpkins
been.
up by the park too, and then we don't have to move the bleachers as far. Cause it's on the streets closed, just put it up on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some debate.
but we'll think about it, but, yeah.
But we,
Will the
Les has got all the good feedback to go back to the events committee.
Were the pumpkins like a competition thing?
They do a light out for
I
some
remember
of
the
them.
first year there was a special.
This was the first year they did a contest,
Oh, okay.
and gave out cash prizes.
Yeah.
And so those pumpkins was on a separate table.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I
then
didn't
anybody
see
could do
those.
the pumpkins
They were
on
under,
the stand.
Oh, okay. Well, because that's what I said, we should run our stuff, because nobody sees them for us.
This,
yeah.
this was my favorite.
Oh, is that the one with the little people
It
inside?
had,
Like-
Tinkerbell.
Yes, that was amazing.
Sorry.
Okay.
We're way off subject. New NLA Watershed Workshop, this year's workshop again is scheduled for Monday, November 13th at 6 p.m. at the Alexandria Old Town Hall. Our planning board has been asked to represent.
At the moment, I am planning on attending that.
I think I'm gonna
I did
try.
RSVP.
So David Shirley from the planning board has volunteered to present or speak about the steep slopes proposed changes.
Of course.
Health Trust is holding their annual member meeting and board of directors elections on December 7th. I am gonna try and look at my schedule and strongly consider going, especially with the increases that we've been seeing. So if I can, I'm gonna try to go to that, but I finally have an answer for you on Grafton County. Communications, Grafton County fiscal 2024. I put it in your folders under number 4. What was funny is during my policy training, Butch Burbank's daughter was also at the training. We went to school together, and I talked to her about, okay, how do I decipher this? And so she told me we're looking at the fiscal 2024 delegation. I also went to their web, so that's their budget. So it is going down a little. Things that they approved for the Grafton County, they're giving their employees a $2 an hour cost of living adjustment. And then increasing shift and weekend differentials by $1 an hour. So they're running into obviously similar things that the town's running into as well. But the increases in contracted nursing expense, they have increases in long-term care expense and home community-based services. They have increases in utility costs. They have decreased the budget. The bond that they took out in 2002 to build the addition to the nursing home has come off. That was a $725,000 reduction. And then they have a 4.14% increase in revenue for next year. So they also applied more money to offset it. So for next year, it's a 0.06% decrease. So I don't know exactly what that means, but we should see a little bit lower a tax rate from the county next year. This year, we just got the bill. It's $1,002,000. So I'm just making sure that we have enough money, and we're gonna hold it and send it the very first week of December, because you can't be late on their bill, so, or you get charged.
And they just do it once a year.
Yes, we pay, so it's usually due like December 15th of every year, and you just have to make sure you submit it on time, so.
So we pay $1 million, well, this time.
This time it's $1 million, yeah.
What, for the year, to the county,
Yeah.
in our tax, okay.
Yep. And we haven't even set our tax rate yet, but they already know their bill.
Right,
We're
so-
still waiting on ours, so.
Because of the.
I mean, that number's not, it sounds huge, but it's like $1.
Oh, yeah.
It's under $2 or somewhere around there, right?
Yeah, I think, I
Well,
can tell you.
yeah, look at the 22.
Yeah.
I can tell you what we are right now.
So how much of an increase is it from last year? Do you know roughly? how much?
Decrease from last.
It's a decrease.
It's a decrease. from
Well,
last
this year's this year was an increase, I think, so this is their budget next year,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
decrease.
sorry.
So.
Okay.
But we got the book, which is this thing, and you're welcome to look at it. we had no clue what it meant. All they do is send you this thing with no explanation, so I was able to finally get some time to do some research, so,
So currently,
you beat me to it. I beat you, $1.82.
there you go.
So the county rate is $1 currently, and that we haven't set this year's rate, so I think that number might change a little bit. But, going into this year, it was $1.82 per thousand.
Plus, the state school rate would probably be going up
Yeah, the state school,
because something's coming off the, right? Is
um,
it COVID stuff?
I have that too, I can tell you. The state school rate, they dropped off. I think it's this year that we have no, we got it last year, the discount. Let me look. So if you looked at the state school rate, in 2021, it was $1.87. In 2022, it dropped to $1.28. It's going back up to probably about the same, $1.87 roughly, give
It's
or take.
been around roughly $2
Yeah.
plus or minus.
They gave it that, it was a one-time discount, so it came down for 2022's tax rate, but we were told it was going right back up to following year.
Was that official set?
We're waiting,
We're waiting.
we're
School.
the school is
So we're
all,
highly equal.
Yeah.
Well, not all,
well,
Yeah.
the school did submit everything on time in September. It went to the Department of Education, and I'm not sure exactly what happened, but now I've seen amended documents go in as of October 26th. So something happened, something wasn't filled out right, or they made them adjust something. And we're waiting for the school portion of that, so.
Okay.
All committees meeting, survey information, I'm tabulating it now. And I have a work session scheduled for November 16th for us to talk with Bruce Dorner about expectations
Great.
before we schedule that meeting. The only other thing, this was voted on a while ago, but I just need signatures. It's for Dorcas Gordon for her appointment. I'm not sure, either we didn't do the appointment paperwork, and that's for the historic district, or I'm gonna say we didn't do it
Yeah.
at the time, but we
Okay.
did vote on it, so. Okay.
All right. Select board items, Les?
Just, it was a great Halloween, thanks to everybody that made it such a special night.
I agree. I have a couple. We talked about the speed limit question on Newchester Mountain Road. Waiting on some stuff from the police chief. As I was driving up there the other day, I thought, why don't we just put a road narrows sign downhill from the Croxon resident? Because that would should slow some people down. Because it does narrow right up at their driveway, and I think that's their big concern, which I get.
And do they have the signs that say road narrows, slow down, please slow down or something?
Whatever, yeah, that would be great.
Caution, or
Caution, road narrows
Yeah.
ahead or something.
Because if you're just going up there and you kind of, there's the two houses at the bottom, and then you're just going up the hill, making speed to get up the hill, then all of a sudden you're at their driveway, and the road does narrow fairly significantly there.
Right.
There's a piece of ledge on the left that kind of sticks into the roadway a little bit. I'm sure Mark has hit that many times with his plow, but yeah, I just thought maybe that in the interim, that might be something that could.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Either one, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
I just want to make, so
Run it by Mark and the chief and see.
I don't want to post that whole thing, but I may just post the one page, so.
I'm deaf.
In which year, like Mark?
This year, he's on my bad ear.
It's Mark then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right
Mark
here.
will have to turn
Yeah, he
away
does.
from you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I probably will be there.
okay, just a second. Does the town have a reverse 911?
I believe the water sewer has a way to do it, but I believe there is a way to do the reverse 911, but it's through dispatch, like we can't just do it. We
Yeah,
also have Civic Ready on so there's a way, we have Civic Ready, that's on my list to fix because.
if there's,
it's not
and
working.
dispatch is fine, if there is basically it's where the town sends out calls to everyone saying
Yeah.
whether it's active shooter or
Amber Alert.
Amber
Yeah.
Alert or, you know,
I thought it was a messaging
We
thing.
do have the capability,
but people have to sign up.
Yeah.
People have to sign up for it.
Right.
Water sewer has a way to send out something, to their caller, to people that have signed up.
Yeah,
I can talk to Ben and Chris about the reverse 911.
yeah, and see what, if,
Because Grafton County does it,
yeah,
but they do it through the Grafton County Sheriff's Office.
right,
But,
right.
And the school has it, or they have a system.
so something has happened with our system, and that's one of the things on my project is try to figure out. I took all the posters down because we can't even, it's not working right.
Okay,
So we're trying to fix that as well, so, because there's a way that community events can send, when they sign up for a group, it'll go out to people.
right,
But I don't even know how to get into it right now.
Yeah.
So we're trying, okay,
I had access to that whole thing.
so we need to fix it and then we need to roll it back out, I think, and let
Okay.
people know they can.
Yeah,
sign up.
this is more of an emergency
Yeah.
situation, and I don't know if if there's, you know, extra equipment or something that's required.
I think they can do it through the dispatch,
Yeah.
but I'll find out for sure.
Okay. And I have a note about a budget meeting, but I don't know what that means. Is there a budget meeting this coming week, or is it
November
the
14th.
14th? Okay,
So November 14th, they will meet and they will discuss outside agencies, with their vote on outside agencies, their budget goals.
okay, so I have another meeting that, well, it starts early, 4 to 6, but I can zoom that, because I would like to be at least some of those meetings.
Have they worked on anything since we presented?
No,
No,
no.
No, and I'm getting the request to do the Excel sheet, from the chair, and I've explained to him, I can only give you the data now.
Yeah.
that's
So I'm gonna just talk to MRI just to make sure, but
So you can only do what?
it's a data dump.
So it's basically a comma delimited
It'll just put it all into Excel, it
Deleted.
doesn't total it, it just gives the numbers.
Text.
Right,
Yeah.
and this became an issue in the past.
Remember when we were on it, on the,
Yeah.
with,
Yeah, it was an issue
Number
because,
So I did say at the last meeting that I wasn't manually entering into an Excel sheet for them. I would provide them an Excel data
And if they want to do some
if
work
they
with
wanted
it,
a
they
different
can.
format
Yeah.
than what we're offering. But I will talk to MRI just to make sure that there's not a way for us to fix
Export.
that for him and
Yeah.
export it.
yeah, because I mean, I think probably one of the areas that they're having frustration with is not seeing previous years or like historical data. That's one thing I always looked at.
So during the meeting, we'll be able to share that with them up on the screen like I did with you. I don't know if there's a way to put that out in an Excel sheet or not. They'll see current year budget, current year
Can't you-
expenditures,
You could give them last year's Excel.
but I'd have to plug everything in. Then I'd have to plug in all the numbers.
No, just give them last year's
The end of the
Excel
year.
that they could have to reference. You wouldn't have to, they just would have it as a reference.
They would have to,
They could add the numbers
Plug
if
their
they
own numbers
choose. Yeah.
some of the titles have changed, but I
Yeah.
think we could do that.
Yeah. Okay, not done. Oh, I made a note about Central, to call the folks about the Central Square tree. Okay. I guess I am.
Okay.
Rob?
Well, listen, great job by everybody, that's, kind of said the same thing, so that's all I got.
Scott?
I think the only thing I have is I did notice the highway department put down some gravel at the spring,
Oh, yeah.
so that issue is,
Yeah.
as long as you don't pull off super
No, it's
early.
Weeks ago.
Yeah.
They did immediately in front, but
Yeah.
if you're way up ahead of it, there's still a blip there, but it is what it is.
I got the bill today, this weekend, it was only $150
For gravel.
for the gravel to go there. So if they do it twice a year, the money that you added back into the budget will cover that twice a year, so.
Sorry, I don't.
No, I don't think I had anything else.
Okay. Do they have a line on a tree?
Oh,
Yes.
for Christmas.
They
Okay.
have, according to Lucille, they're also.
Yeah, I talked to Hilda a week or so ago.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
One more thing.
I'll tell you, I didn't say that.
I know.
We started to work on the upstairs over here. One of the things was, there was a set of mapping shelves that were purchased about 3 years ago, with the intent that they were gonna be in the mapping room that was supposed to be where the Jeep is. We've thrown that idea away, so I went to put the shelving together. There's no hardware. So we have very expensive shelves, but no hardware.
Can we,
So I'm trying to find out the manufacturer, but what happened was those got thrown out.
Yeah.
And they had to go dig them out and bring them back, and I think the hardware probably came out of the box
Yeah.
when that happened, so
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Demerit.
That's
All right.
That wasn't me. I didn't throw them out. I actually said, where'd my shelves go?
So those were shelves for like public display of maps, like tax maps, or
No,
just
they were
internal?
So they were supposed to be in the
the mapper?
the map room at the time, and they were shelves to be able to sort out and put the tubes of maps in so they'd be organized.
Yeah.
Instead, we went the different route this year, and Mark's crew built shelves that go right on top of the fire cabinets.
Yeah.
And so the maps are right with the files. Big difference. He's gonna build the other two, there's two that are left, and he's gonna finish building those.
So whether it's the White Farm or any other
Yeah.
office surplus stuff?
It was very expensive. It was purchased.
Well, no, what I'm saying is something called a plan file with the sliding drawers.
Oh, yeah.
Like
No,
surveyors and,
I wish it was that, but those were
Yeah.
really expensive too,
they are, but every now and then you see them on,
on White
people
Farm.
trying to get rid of them
Oh,
on
yeah.
Facebook or on Marketplace or,
Cause those might be good for the older maps
yeah.
that we wouldn't wanna roll. We have those right now in a cardboard, it's stored in a cardboard box, so to speak.
I'll keep my eye out. I kind of want them myself, but I don't have any room.
Sean's like, I'll look at you, but you can give me a couple of jars.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, very good.
It's your fault.
One more thing.
Is there
Yeah,
nothing
so-
else?
Do you want me to sign? I'll tell you at the end, never mind,
This is the end.
when you're on.
Okay.
It's not pertinent to your board meeting, how's
Gotcha.
that?
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Rob, seconded by Les. All those in favor?